All right, welcome everybody to Beyond the Court, episode 22 here on a beautiful Sunday night in tonight. I'm in South Florida. Ellie's in Stocktown, the 209, and we're going to talk about and recap a great event that we had this weekend down in Kansas City. And we're going to have a very special guest, Ellie, the reigning USA National Doubles Champion and social media guru, the queen of social media for racquetball, Aimee Ruiz.
Yeah, I got to know Amy pretty well, traveling on the U.S. team in my mid 2000s run there, and worked with her at Ectel on racquetball. So we became pretty good friends in a short amount of time. And she's a legend when it comes to doubles. She's won the event 13 times, I think 12 times officially, but there's a story behind that one time. But 13 times winning national doubles, and unbelievably, she's not the leading national doubles title holders on the female side. Jackie Parizo, I think, has a couple more than that. So it's pretty crazy, those two right there, that how many times they've won. But, we're going to bring her in a minute. But Suds, I got to tell you, Suds, and you probably aren't totally knowing that I'm going to do this here, but I've gotten some texts over the last few hours here. Daryl Vincent, for example, one of my buddies here in California, kind of asking about you and about your situation in general, not realizing your resignation was to USA Racquetball. He thought this show wasn't going to happen. Like you weren't going to be a part of this show. And I said, no, that's the USA Racquetball show that was on Monday nights, and his ambassador role. So why don't you touch on that a little bit on our show here so that you can kind of get it out there. I know there's an email that went out from USA Racquetball. I read it today. I'm sure a lot of people did. So, floor is yours for that before you go into monologue.
Yeah, so thanks, Ellie. But so USA Racquetball came to me in the middle of the summer, and obviously you were privy to that, and they asked if I would help them communicate to the members and to the racquetball base, and to the fans and players and really everybody. And they wanted a voice and a name and likeness to go along with it to help them promote the game, keep everybody interested. And we came up with the Real Racquetball Show idea as one of the ways to actually communicate to everybody. And it's I think I started in July or August, and most recently, after doing it for a few months, I came to the decision and conclusion that just it wasn't exactly for me. There was some distractions. It was definitely taking me away from some other things that I feel are super important in our sport. And this show is certainly one of them, which definitely not going anywhere from this show. The Beyond the Court started with Scotty Mack and you and myself, and we're going to do this. I know we've talked about doing 100 episodes or 200 episodes. That's certainly not going to stop, and I'm going to continue to focus my energy and my passion and my love for the sport in whatever I could do. But ultimately, I resigned. That's the $1 million question, right? Like everybody wants to know, well, what's the reason? What's the reason? And the speculation is interesting. I actually just read something before, which you're like, Ellie, that somebody thinks I'm going to pickleball. I'm going to play pickleball. And although I did smack it around today, Ellie will tell you pickleball's not for me. It's not my sport, but I could play it and enjoy it, but it has nothing to do with that. It's just that I think USA Racquetball is on a different path than what I think we need to be on. And I just felt that it was my responsibility to the sport to resign and step away from that and really focus what I believe is necessary to help the sport not only grow but survive, and do what's best for the players, and ultimately at the end of the day the sport, because Ellie, it's our life. Racquetball's our life. It's been part of our life. It will be forever. And just going to go in a different direction, so to speak.
Well said.
Didn't answer what you really
Well, I
wanted
mean,
more, didn't you?
I think that's fine. I think that answers the question just fine. Maybe some follow-up questions from players, members out there would be, what direction do you feel like they're going that you either disagree with or you're not interested in following? And, I think that's, you can answer that if you feel like. For me, it's I don't see like a huge disconnection with them on your behalf. You're still a member of USA Racquetball. Uh, there'll still be events and items that come up that are in the USA Racquetball web that you'll be involved in the future. So there's a certain amount of time in a day to do important stuff in one's life. You have two young kids. You live in Ecuador, so there's other factors there. So if you want to touch on it any more than that, that's great. If not, it's something that we'll see where they go. They with their per their email, they seem to sound like they have some plans on continuing the show and maybe having a new direction in that. It's hard to read, they'd email and know exactly what they're saying with that, but it's interesting to follow. And hey, look, I'll be honest, and on this show, I was kind of one of the guys telling you early on, like, why bother with that, and I'm somebody who hosts 25 tournaments a year and tries to bring in USA Racquetball members event by event, and so I think I'm kind of an important tournament director to them, but yet I haven't been on any boards. I
You
haven't
should
been
be.
told. Well, that's great. It hasn't happened now in 9 months because of COVID, but prior to that was what I've been doing for quite a while now. Having help with Nick Irvine in the past, with Steve Cook recently, my family, always a whole staff of people around me here, Danny Rivera, Angel Galvan, the Diaz family, and a whole, In Shape clubs in general. But I've never really got involved myself on that level with USA Racquetball on any boards or anything like that. I do go to junior nationals every year. I got kids that play in the event. I've got kids that I teach that are at the event. So, I'm kind of a unique situation when it comes to USA Racquetball, and you are too. And so for me, it was, I was kind of like, hey man, you're going to put some time into this. And I'm not sure I think that's the best move for you, but that's your decision. And like everything we talk about on the show, you got to just roll with your friends when they make decisions on their behalf and support them.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't, you and Scotty Mack and Veronica and the people that obviously are closest to me with what we're trying to do here in racquetball. It wasn't that you guys were against it, but there was a lot of question and a little bit of hesitation as to, exactly why. And the truth is, I didn't know why, and you guys know this, I would wake up every day and say, I'm not really sure why I'm, the ambassador or what that means for USA Racquetball. But for me, truthfully, I just felt that I was doing what I could to help racquetball. And, so I said, hey, if USA Racquetball needs me or is asking me to help, I'm going to go help. I didn't get paid 1 cent. It wasn't a paying position, as everybody knows. And, at the end of the day, I just feel that my vision, or even I could say our vision in a lot of things sometimes is different than where they're at. I think there's a lot of good people there. I think there's some people that maybe might be better off moving on and going a new direction, new route, new energy. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to do what's best for the sport. I'm never going to talk bad about the sport. I'm not going to talk bad about associations and organizations. I just won't do it because I don't think that's good for our sport. I think it's unprofessional and I wouldn't do it. But, I thought I could help Ellie, and that. I thought I was doing it to help USA Racquetball. I think I did. I tried to do my best. But I think that, the way it's structured and the processes and stuff, there's only so much somebody can do. And I wasn't on the board, as you know. I didn't have any voting power. I didn't have any say. I was really just kind of a voice. I was trying to help them bridge the gap between them, USA Racquetball, and then, the racquetball world.
Yeah, that's great. And it's unique times with COVID, so it's hard to, there's an argument to be said, well, yeah, there's not much you can do right now. You can only talk about the same thing or the couple of topics for so many episodes and so many moments here and all that. So, it would have been interesting to see if it was during active times, pre-COVID, post-COVID, and racquetball's a little more active on the tournament side and event side, if that relationship could have gone and led to different directions. But hey, that's not
Wouldn't
the
have mattered.
reality right now.
Yeah,
Well,
it
okay.
wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, it was just, we just, I've been in the sport for just like you, over 40 years. And, yeah, it wasn't about what was going on in the sport. It was really what was not happening or happening, to help the sport. So it was, and there's no hard feelings. And I mean, there's none on my side, and doesn't sound like there is on their side, basically, from the email that everybody got today or the announcement. And if you didn't get it, Scotty can share it or whatever. But, you and I are certainly going to continue to do what we can, and Scotty Mack, and our passion and love for the game will continue. And, whether it includes USA Racquetball moving forward or not, I'm always going to make sure that whatever decision I make and however I deliver that and whatever message it is, it's truly in the best interest of the sport. And, a lot of people ask this, Ellie, and I just want to say it, people think sometimes, right, that, well, yeah, if I benefit or you benefit, but that's not it. And really, let me simplify it. There's only a few people in the history of our sport that will be okay if racquetball exists. As long as racquetball's alive and going strong, there's a few people that will be okay also with it. And I feel I'm trying to do everything and anything I can, to keep our sport alive, to keep it strong. I want it to grow. I want more interest. I want interest to be gained, but I also want the right people involved in making the decisions and the right people being part of a team or an organization that are going to have that same agenda. And I'm not saying that they have the wrong people. I'm saying that, maybe there is one or two, that need to maybe shift their focus or think or just be more open-minded about other possibilities.
You're creating another show right now because now
Correct.
you're starting to get a little more interesting with this topic, and I can start
We
firing
can move
questions.
on.
But let's move on to the monologue because we had a great tournament this weekend, and we're inviting in our guest Aimee Ruiz here to talk about that and about her a little bit. But yeah, hey, sounds fun for the future weeks.
We'll definitely discuss it in the future. But anyway, tonight, thanks, Ellie, for that. And I know there's tons of questions. I'm getting tons of emails and tons of people reaching out. And sorry if I'm a little vague. I would imagine that you would expect that, but that's how it has to be at the moment. But who knows as we move forward. But tonight we will discuss and recap the Team Root Supermax Slam event, the LPRT event that just happened in Kansas City. Finals were today. This is and pretty much is the most prize money and the biggest prize purse that even Ellie and I can remember. I spoke to TJ, the commissioner, today, and she said it certainly is within the last 15 years, but she's just not sure about years prior to that. And, watching and knowing a lot of these players and these girls, and the guys too, it's important that we recognize the great play and the abilities they have and the athletic ability, but it's also super important, I think, that we market and showcase the players, the personalities, and who they really are. There are some very special individuals that play professional racquetball, and they do not get the recognition they deserve, and they need to. And we need to figure out how to showcase that. We need to figure out how to show the world that. And I think if we did this, I think the interest in the sport would grow and the sport racquetball would follow. And maybe that's a direction we have to consider. Not, hey, this racquetball player is so and so. What if it's this is so and so? Oh, by the way, they're one of the greatest racquetball players in the world. And we have such special people, great players. We're going to get into the event. It was a great event. It was a lot of fun. And, with that, I think it's time, Ellie, we bring in our guest for tonight, another great racquetball player, a legend, Aimee Ruiz. Maybe we will. We're going to a commercial.
We're going to do that first.
Commercial, and we'll be right back with Aimee. All right, we are live with Aimee Ruiz. And for those of you that don't know Aimee, honestly, she's got more doubles titles than Ellie, myself, and you can throw in a couple more players, Kane, Ben, than combined, than we have combined. Aimee, welcome to Beyond the Court. Thank you so much. We've been trying to get you here. You're finally here.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Are you a little nervous? Are you a little nervous, Aimee?
I am. This is not my thing. That's why I said I declined a few times. I'm a little shy, guys. So bear with me.
Not tonight. Not with Ellie and I. Ellie, go ahead. I can see you jumping out of your skin to get going.
Boy.
No, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that when I first met Aimee in 2006, we were in Guatemala, and I'd seen her a little bit in the magazine, kind of intrigued, like, God, I've heard about her, but I had never met her. And then we got to know each other, long drives, how it is, Sudsy, on those international trips. You have hotel to the clubs, usually 20 to 45, maybe even an hour drive sometimes. So we got to chatting, and Woody Klaus and I were on that team. We called ourselves the B team that time on the men's side. And we could tell that any conversation that we had with her could possibly embarrass her a little bit. And so that totally attracted that right off the bat. Said, yeah, you know how it is. And then just wanted to talk to her a lot, so we got to know each other, and we worked at Echelon together. So we have been trying to have Aimee on the show a little bit for other reasons as well. And, this is a perfect opportunity to talk about women's professional racquetball. I've always kind of been on Aimee's case about playing more pro stops and playing more singles. Sudsy, I don't know if you're aware of this, but she did win national singles one time as well. Took
I
out
am.
some legends in the way, and I believe Cheryl and Rhonda, I believe maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. So, that was a great win. It was a great weekend for her. And so, she's a great singles player as well, but she's obviously one of the best, if not the best women's left side doubles player of all time. And so, she's a great person here to have on the show to talk about women's pro racquetball that happened this weekend in Kansas City.
Well, all right, I'm going to start with that right there, Aimee, and you're coming in hot now. You ready? So why didn't you play? We'll get into your. I know you're super busy with social media.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that later. But why aren't you playing? You should be out there, like Ellie said. And why didn't you play with your national doubles champion?
Well, Erica's a little recovering from an injury right now, so that's why she wasn't playing. And there's just been a lot going on with COVID and some personal things, and I'm trying to get that sorted out. So it's kind of like, I just didn't think it was the best timing for me to go. So kind of regretting it a little bit when I was watching the matches and watching the ladies play. It gets a little tough because I've been playing a little bit of singles here and there, and I'm playing pretty well, but it's my loss, I guess.
So let me ask you this then, because you said you kind of regret it, right? So
Yeah.
what do you mean regret? Like, why do you regret it? Like, get into
Honestly, I know I can beat these girls. Like, I know I can. So
I'm certainly
well.
not questioning that.
I'm moving well. Like, I know I can beat them. It's just, they have that youth factor, and I'm 45, so but.
But you're in better shape than you've been in a while. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Kind of what led you to getting in better shape these days and feeling stronger on the court and faster.
Yeah, I don't know. Just one day I just felt like I needed to get better and get more fitter and drop some weight, to be completely honest. So I just honestly, if I'm being honest, I joined Weight Watchers, and I lost 40 pounds from it, and I've kept it off for over 2 years now. So yeah.
Sudsy and I like to ride the bike a lot, and I know you do as well. Your bike of choice and what you're doing in that area, because we really believe in it a lot. We think it's a great stability workout, and just really great for racquetball, interval style of training as well. You can do a lot with it. So talk about it on your end.
Yeah,
before Aim, I'm sorry, I got to cut you off. You said about if you're being honest. We are only honest on Beyond the Court, so be ready to take the gloves off. Okay? That little speech I gave before was the most vague I'm going to be for now, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh boy.
So go ahead.
No, I have a Peloton bike, so I use that as my workout, and I ride as much as I can, and I love it. I love the coaches and the trainers. I love when they're like screaming at me and in my face, and the F-bombs are flying. It motivates me, and so I use the One Peloton bike a lot, and I use their strength and conditioning and the other workouts that they offer. So yeah.
It's an incredible app, Suds. I mean, I talked to you about it a little bit too. I'm blown away with how incredible the app is, and we use it here in our family, and it's helped us, during this COVID times, just maintain some sanity first of all, and get those workouts in without having to search real hard for it. So, I can't promote them enough. And let's get on to talking about some racquetball now, though.
All right, so Aimee, you saw the results. You saw
Yes.
Paola won her 100th singles title.
That's insane.
Insane.
Yes.
And she beat Angelica Barrios in the finals. So now, I think I know this answer, but did you ever play either one of I know you played Paola. Did you ever play Angelica?
I did not. I've never played her. I played Paola in doubles numerous times. I played her in singles. So, I mean, are we surprised that Paola won? I mean, no. I mean, they've had 10 months off since the last event, and she's probably enjoyed that time off, worked on any injuries she's had and fixing those, and has enjoyed the time off. So I think when you get when you get older and you get more experience, you don't have to practice as much on the court and be on the court as much, and then it's the physical conditioning and being healthy that's more important. And I think that's where she's at in that stage of her career. So
You know, you've watched her from, you know, kind of when we were introduced to her there at the US Open and then in Guatemala, you know, that event I was talking about. She won that event at about 17 or 18 years old. And that was her coming out party in the international side of it, on the adult side of it. So, you know, you've seen her progress. Where do you think she's gotten better since being a teenager, 16, 17, winning that event to where she is now?
I think her all-around game, but also her mental toughness. I mean, she has a sports psychologist she works with. She has a strength and conditioning coach. So you know, there's been times in the beginning when she's played, she's cracked a little bit, and her focus and her mental toughness isn't where it should be. I mean, I'll say it. It happened at your event in Stockton, and you know, she's gotten better with that. So she's improved in that area.
Aim, you've had a lot of success against her. You know, I've seen you
Yeah.
beat her. I've seen you beat her multiple times, and I
Yeah.
can't say that about a lot of people. What is it? Why do you think you have that success? And what would you tell a lot of these younger players? Like, how would you coach them and advise them? Because if I was a young female player or any player, I would
Yeah.
certainly seek you out and say, hey, give me some knowledge, give me some info. Like, I want to know. If
Yeah.
I was anybody playing the LPRT today, and Ellie and I talk about this a lot, like, we'd be glued to these shows when we see a guest like you. Like, we want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
So what would you tell these girls, and why do you think, you know, you've had success against her?
Honestly, I'm not intimidated by her. I go on the court. She's number one player in the world. You know, she's amazing. But you have to go in with that attitude that you can beat them and that you can beat her. And I go in and I know that, and I know her game, and I watch her play, and I watch her matches, and I know what I need to do to beat her. And you have to have that mental toughness when you go and play against her, and believe in yourself that you can beat her, or else she's just going to walk all over you on the court. So
That's been obvious. It's similar to the men's side with Kane. You know, that's something that Kane said right off the bat in our interview is, you know, guys need to worry about themselves a little bit more than worry about what I'm going to do. And I think that happens a bit too much on the women's side as well. And I also think too many of the ladies hit the side wall against her. And you hit the side wall and you leave it up in the front for her, she's going to hit angles on you. She's very smart with her shot selection. You have to keep the ball going down the line, cross court, not hitting side walls, keeping it off the back wall, obviously. If you do that, then you've got a chance to push her to the back of the court and make her do some exceptional shot making to beat you, which she might be able to do on any given day as well. She's that good. But, you know, leaving it off the side wall there you have no chance of beating her in that situation.
Were you able to watch the finals of the doubles or singles today?
I watched a little bit of both, actually. Yes.
So one of the things I saw in the doubles final was, even though they lost, which was a huge upset, and we'll talk about that. You know, I mean, I don't care that it was the number 1 and 2 seed, and Aimee,
Right.
you know, you could touch on that. That's a huge upset, correct? I mean,
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
First time Valeria playing with Choka in an event like that, and they go out and beat, you know, Paola and Sam, who might be the best women's doubles team I've ever seen. You know, you with anyone you play with is up there too. But, you know, did Vargas and Natalia and Choka ever beat Sam and Paola? Do you know?
I don't think they have, honestly.
So that's huge. And here's the thing, like, back to Paola, Ellie, like, to your point, I'm watching that match, and even though they lose, and Aimee, I want your perspective totally, but it looks like Paola's kind of playing chess while they're playing checkers, and she didn't make too many mistakes. And Ellie had asked me before we got on, you know, why did they lose? And I think Valeria and Natalia got really hot. I thought they looked super comfortable. Paola and Sam looked a little frustrated, and maybe that chemistry, which we all know we need in doubles, and, you know, it wasn't there. But still, Paola just looked like a different level of player, but they lost. But, you know, knowing the sport, you're watching it, and it looks like she's just kind of moving the pieces, and they just didn't end up where she wanted. What's your perspective on that? And of course, today's final.
Yeah. Here's the thing that I noticed when Paula's playing, whoever her partner is, it is a shit ton of pressure to play and be Paula's partner. And I think I see Samantha feeling that pressure because, you know, it's Paula Longoria, like, she doesn't lose. So whoever's playing with her, I just feels that pressure. And then Paula has the pressure to take more balls away from Samantha, and then they're just discombobulated on the court. So I see Samantha's face sometimes. I saw it at the U.S. Open when they lost to Alexandra Monte. It's a lot to take on when you're playing with her. So I think that adds to it a little bit. But then again, I'm not taking away anything from Natalia and her partner. I mean, they played great. They played like they've been playing for many years together, and they look like a very experienced team that jived really well together. So
the scary thing, yeah, is they're really young too. I think
yeah.
maybe Valeria's still a junior. Is that possible? No,
Yeah.
she's out of juniors. Okay.
She's out of
So, I'm kind of losing track really of who's still a junior in Bolivia, because they're good enough to play, when they're 17, 18, they're good enough to play professional events and advance. And so, my bad, but they're young girls still though, right? They're not going anywhere for a while. So, things change as well. Samantha and Paola, we remember when they were young in Guatemala. Now they're the veterans on tour. And so, they're the hunted, and that's a part of it as well. In doubles, there's a little more security having a partner and feeling like you can go out and take down a big team, because it's two becoming one. So congratulations to them. And my question for both of you really is, what's the story of this event in terms of the on-court? Is Paola the story of this event, or is it Angelica Barrios? I mean, what really is the story of this event?
I mean, for me, I think it's just the event happening.
I would agree.
TJ, I think the LPRT, they did a great job. Randy Root, Team Root, putting up that kind of money, $60,000, and wanting to make that event happen and make it happen. To me, that's the story. It's great to see that we had women's professional racquetball after 10 months. And I know the IRT is coming here, and next month they're supposed to be in Atlanta. So that's the main story. Like Aimee, you kind of touched on it, but when we said about Paola winning, we were like, well, she's kind of supposed to, right? Like,
Yeah.
and,
Yes.
and that shouldn't take away from it, right? Like, isn't that? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it was about the event and about everyone being able to watch live racquetball for the first time in how many months. They had 2 courts streaming at the same time. You could go between matches. I mean, I think that was the most exciting part for everyone. I mean, this is nothing against Barrios. She had a great tournament. She defeated Maria Jose 11-10 tiebreaker, and she had some incredible wins against Alexandra. So, I mean, all credit to her. I just think, it's nice to be able to watch live racquetball right now. So,
the funny thing is too, yeah, I mean, she was the story for me of the event was, besides the event happening, how much money's involved, it's COVID times, and we have a pro stop that took place. Hopefully everyone stays healthy as they're on their way home. But, Angelica was the story for me, making her first stop, being seeded 22. But someone in John Provan in the text thread here says Centellas is the story of the event. She won the open singles, she won the doubles, but Barrios beat her in the pros in the quarterfinals, I believe. So, there's a lot of parity in the event right now in women's racquetball outside of Paola on the singles side. And that's pretty exciting. And I think, a lot of players, and I know Sudsy, you've said this before, that, they have the best product out there right now. And Aimee, I'm curious, how do you feel about the LPRT's product compared to the IRT's product right now? And I know we haven't seen the IRT in a while, but you know what we're going to see when they come back, the players.
I mean, I don't want to say it's similar. I mean, they both have the number one player that's dominating right now. I mean, it's a little tough when the IRT hasn't had a live event, and hopefully, in a few weeks they're going to. So, everyone's working hard. I know the LPRT had some issues with their streaming. They didn't have all their equipment that arrived for the tournament and everything, but they did a great job. So kudos to them.
Before we get into that, because that is a question here on my list, and I believe even where Sudsy's staying right now, the gentleman that he's staying at had a comment on Facebook that drew a lot of attention about the quality of the production. But before we get off her, let's talk about Angelica for a second, because she did make her first final. What about her game do you recognize that's special, that, gets her to a situation where she's in the finals of a women's pro stop for the first time as a 22nd seed?
I felt like she had a great power game, and she also has a lot of control. I saw her, up front, in front of the short line. She had a lot of control when she was hitting shots, and you know, she almost acted like a seasoned veteran out there. Like she's been playing the tour for a long time when she hasn't been. So I don't know how much training she's been able to do in Bolivia and how much the courts have been open. But she acted like she belonged there and she was confident and you know she hit shots well. She moved well. I did notice when she played Alexandra when I was watching a little bit. I wasn't sure because I think that was her fifth match of the day on Saturday, so I didn't know how much she had left in the tank. But I mean, I think she pulled it out in two straight. So
She
you
did.
know, great for her.
Yeah, I've been seeing her play now for a few years since I started coaching Ecuador. And Angelica, it's funny, like Veronica and I call her La Nina, but she's got like a really awkward, different type of style. She's very handsy.
Hmm.
She hits a lot of balls, like gets to a lot of balls you wouldn't expect, to be
Right.
quite honest.
Right.
And then she puts them down too. So she kind of reminds me of like a better Aaron Katz. To just a different type of a game style. Yeah, I know that's a weird
No,
a weird
Scott's not gonna.
comparison.
Scott's not going to know what you're talking about with that one
No,
at
no,
all.
yeah, not many people will know, but hey, I just want to read this from TJ who wrote when we were talking about the story. She said, "Randy Root is the story." TJ Bamba is the commissioner of the LPRT. For those of you who don't know, Randy Root is the story. A $60,000 event bringing all of these great players together who battled all weekend is the story. TJ, yeah, we agree. We agree 100%. And believe me, if we didn't, we would tell you. But no, we do agree. That is the story. An event that large happening during these times of COVID. It's definitely the story. And again, I text Randy today and I just said, Randy, thank you. Racquetball needed that. That was my text. And I'll just say that message again out loud. So Aimee, let me ask you this. You have Angelica Barrios, you have Valeria Centellas, and you have Michaela Meneses. All right. Um, I I'm not I know Michaela's the youngest. Did you get a chance to see all three of these young Bolivian girls play, even though I know Valeria now represents Argentina? Did you get a chance to see all three of them play?
I've watched all of them. I've actually played against Valeria once last year, so I've been on the court with her. The younger one I have not been able to watch play though.
Okay, so I have. Ellie, have you seen them play?
Yeah, I have. I've seen pieces of matches with all of them. They're all entertaining and aggressive and fun to watch.
So I'll throw this out there, and it's pretty crazy, right? Because we're all Team USA, or at some point we were. Aimee, you and I are right now, but it really doesn't mean anything because we're not
We're not going
anything.
anywhere.
But hey, Team USA. So I think Michaela actually might be the best of the three of them when it's all
Really?
said and done. Yeah, she's got, to me, all the weapons, all the tools. She is the youngest. She has a little bit more power. I could be dead wrong, but that's kind of the way I see it. And she lost to Nancy, I think 11-10, Nancy
Mhm.
Enriquez. And we were talking, Veronica and I said, and Aimee, touch on this too. When you get those wins early on, how it helps your confidence. And
Right.
all of a sudden, you're better than you even think you are.
Right. Yeah. How old is she again?
I think she's 17.
Yeah. I mean, having matches like that, that's just going to help her in her next tournament. So she's just going to build on that. I follow her. I believe I follow her on Instagram, and she does a lot of training and posts a lot. So I look forward to seeing her at the next tournament. Definitely.
How about Holly Scott? You're a U.S. legend. She seems to be our next up and coming USA player, right?
Yes.
Holly, Lexi York,
Lexi.
Erica, your partner.
Mhm.
But are they focused? Do they want to play? Do they want to be the best players in the world? Or what are your thoughts on our USA crew that we have right now?
I think they're definitely focused. I mean, Holly had a great tournament. She beat Samantha. So, and she lost to Gabby in a tiebreaker in the quarterfinals, I believe. So, Holly had a great tournament. And I think Lexi's having trouble. She doesn't have courts available to practice, I believe. So, right now it's tough for some players to get on the court and practice. But Holly, Lexi, Erica, Kaylani, I mean, they're our future for the women. So
What would you tell those girls what would you tell these girls? Coach, I see Jim Durham is watching, coach of the adult team. What would you tell these girls, Aimee, if you were the coach, as far as what to expect and how they're going to have to deal with and compete with Mexico, Argentina, Bolivia? What are some of the differences that you see? You've been in the sport for how many years? In our sport, in racquetball. Okay.
25 years probably playing
So
racquetball.
what would you tell? I mean, Gabby Martinez.
Yeah.
I mean, are our girls, are the U.S. girls ready to compete with all these people?
I think with Holly and Lexi and even Erica, they have not played an adult U.S. team competition representing wearing USA on their back. And honestly, I think it's very different representing at a junior worlds than an adult worlds. And they need to be ready for that pressure and what it takes. You know, if they step on the court with a Gabby or a Paola or whomever at a worlds, it's a different atmosphere. It's a different level. And they need to work their ass off to be ready for it, but they also need to have that mindset of what it takes to be playing at that level and at an international competition.
I love what you just said because first off, I do believe that of all the names we just said, Gabby is probably still the best of all of them,
Mhm.
minus and she's still only 21.
I know.
But Aimee, something you have, and I definitely know it's part of your Northeast upbringing, that you see it kind of comes and goes, and Ellie's has seen it his whole life, and he has it too, is that mental strength and conditioning.
Mhm.
How do our girls, or how does anyone get that where they think or believe, they can go out and beat this person or that person, like not being satisfied, right? Like not
Yeah.
having a win in the quarterfinals, like, oh, I beat a top player, and then you just get your ass kicked in the semis. Like, how do you work with that? And do any of the girls? This bugs me, Ellie. I know we touched on this last time. I can't stand that. Like none of the girls go to you or Kalani or the veterans Rhonda and want info and knowledge. I mean, Ellie, I know we did it. We used to just pick Cliff Swain's brain without him even knowing. I just wanted info. Just feed me. Do they do that? Do they ever come to you for any of that?
Is that for John or for
That's
me?
that's for you.
Oh,
That's for
no, they haven't. But you know what's interesting is that you say that. So one year, Javier Moreno, he's in Syosset for a pro stop. He's a lefty, and I'm watching him, and I'm amazed at his serves. He serves a Z serve right in front of him, and I just went up to him, and I was just like, "How do you do that serve?" Like, and I started asking him a lot of questions because I wanted to incorporate a variety of serves into my game. And Javier and I went on the court, and he, in Javier fashion, he explained things to me and showed me what he was doing, and that's what they have to do. They have to ask, they have to learn, and they have to be able to pick their brains. I mean, me, when I'm getting ready for a tournament and I know I'm going to be playing at an international competition, I'm watching my opponents online and I'm studying them, and I know what their strengths and what their weaknesses are, and I'm going to be ready for them that on match day. Are the up and coming players doing that? I don't know. What do you think?
I personally think that there's little moments of it, right? Like Erica's coached by Winterton. Her and her brother take on coaching responsibilities now with club players, so they're talking about racquetball quite a bit. Lexi's probably hitting with the Bredenbecks all the time. Kaylani has her mother who has a long history in the sport, and she has a unique style, and I think she's a special player personally. Holly, she's worked with Cliff, but there's your coach, and then they're seeking out, similar type of players that you can get information like you did with Javier Moreno there. That's a really good story. It's a cool story. And so, I think that's something that we'll see them start to do, to trend towards that as we go on, because, they're not going to be accepting defeat by the Mexican, Bolivian, Costa Rican players, Colombian players, now Argentinian. They're not really Argentinian, but that situation as well. So I certainly hope that they're hearing this and that they're starting to make moves towards that. Aimee, let's get into you a little bit. But before we do, we're going to talk a little bit about USA Racquetball and your role there and some things happening there, and roll your eyes a little bit at that one. But here it comes. But before we do that, talk a little bit about your feelings, because it looked like of COVID and playing events during COVID period. The girls looked like they were masked up pretty well off the court. Taking that pretty seriously. How do you feel about, what's your personal feelings about playing events, getting around people again, and getting back to racquetball events?
That's personal. She doesn't have to answer that if she doesn't want to.
Well, let her try.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I'd like to get back to racquetball tournaments. I don't know if it's if it's the right time right now. I know, last week I was at LA Fitness. We were playing doubles without masks on, and we got a game and a half in, and he came over and said, "You can't play. You have to put a mask on. You not only can't play doubles, you have to play singles." And it's tough to get any type of training in right now when you can't get on the court and play doubles, or you can't play singles. I know. I think clubs are going to be closing soon. Our COVID rates are very high right now. So, I think we have a few months to go to be ready. So
And our situation here in Cali is we just went into stay-at-home order in our county. The various counties have different rules being put in place by our governor, and most of the people hate the governor right now here. Really frustrated with every decision he's making, especially when you see him out in pictures eating dinner at a restaurant without masks on with about 12 other people and all that. But I'm not really thinking about that stuff too much. But our situation in Stockton here is starting tomorrow at the in-shape clubs. We must wear a mask at all times for only the outdoor workout scene, which does encompass a lot of machines at our club. We have this enormous tent that's out there. I mean, it's not even really a tent. It's, like a vinyl building. And then our covered pickleball courts. You have to wear a mask the entire time now. We'll see how they police that and if everybody abides by those rules. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. We're going to have a couple of months here potentially of difficult times, or at the very least a couple of weeks of playing with masks on and all that. And so, it's not great, but I'll probably do my part.
Has InShape allowed you guys on the courts, at the racquetball courts at all since March?
And we're not even talking about racquetball, right? Our indoor racquetball courts have been closed since March. They have not opened up. We do have one facility here in a nearby town. I won't even say its name. That is open. I have been playing a little racquetball. I do come off of the court and put my mask on in the hallways. Yeah. They enforce it. They walked around and got me like the first day there and kind of got on me a little bit about that. And so I put it on, and, it's been fun to be able to work with some juniors and be on the racquetball court again. But I'm certainly thinking about the COVID situation as I'm doing that. And, personally myself, I haven't decided that I wanted to play an event, whether it's indoor or outdoor yet here in California. And there hasn't been an indoor event, but we do have a couple outdoor events, but I'm patient about racquetball. It's been a lot of years in the sport, so no need to hurry into that. But I appreciate you giving us your response on that, because it is personal. Sudsy's right. He doesn't want to get into people's personal opinion on that, and I tend to ask that question. So thank you.
No, I mean, it's not that. No, it's not that. I mean, we're all friends, but it's what do they say, right? You don't discuss politics and religion with friends and family and loved ones, and this is certainly politics. And unfortunately, now it's become you don't discuss health choices, and it sucks. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to judge you, so you shouldn't judge me. If I want to wear my mask all the time alone in my car, if I'm sleeping in my bed at home, who are you to tell me I don't have to or I can't, or vice versa? I don't wear the mask like that, by the way, but that point being, like, so yeah, it is. It's politics, religion, and now health choices. So from an athlete's point of view, I don't know. Let me ask you, Ellie, if you had to play a tournament right now, high level racquetball, are you going to wear a mask? Are you going to play if you have to wear a mask?
No, I wouldn't. I think that's difficult. I think it's difficult on the breathing. I just have no interest in that. I love racquetball. I love tournament play, but no real interest in trying to put myself through that because of the years in the sport too.
Okay, well then, Aimee, this goes right to you, because this could be a question for you and I. Let's say, they tell us we're going to the Pan Am, or they ask us if we want to go to the Pan American Championships if they happen in March, which I don't think they're going to happen. I don't know if you think they are.
No.
And they say, okay, yeah. Okay, guys, you can go, but you got to wear a mask. Are you going to play?
Absolutely not.
Neither would I. And not because of COVID. I wouldn't play with a mask on, period.
Yeah, absolutely. I played last week. They made us wear a mask. It's extremely uncomfortable. It was hard to breathe. I mean, how can you play at your best like that? So.
Well, that's good. But now, you want to go ahead now? You get her with the USA Racquetball.
Well, I mean, Scott's up our ass right now about asking USA Racquetball questions on the backside here. Our producers literally in our ear about this right now. So, yeah, good idea. And cheers to Aimee being on the show here finally.
Yeah, Aimee, thank you.
Aimee, thanks.
Cheers. Oh, gosh, here we go.
So
at least Amy's not on Team Pobre.
So let's talk about your role with USA Racquetball. Why don't you kind of define that for our listeners here and exactly what you're doing these days with USA Racquetball?
Yeah, so I was managing the magazine for about 3 or 4 years. And in March, when COVID hit, they decided to go away from the magazine, and they are now doing a monthly newsletter that they send out via email to our members and non-members. So I manage and coordinate that. And then I also help Renee a little bit with the social media here and there. That's it, John. Nothing exciting. Sorry.
Okay.
This was all Ellie, Amy. I had nothing to do with it.
Oh,
So
I'm
then,
sure.
so then, you know, the outdoor, back to the outdoor event for a second in Las Vegas.
Yes.
They were in charge. You know, they used, I believe, the LPRT and IRT services for the production, but it was a USA Racquetball event. How do you think they handled, you know, basically talking about outdoor racquetball, presenting the event prior to the event, during the event, post event? How did y'all do with that one? And how was the production of the matches and on video, in your opinion? Because there's differing opinions out there. There's no doubt about that.
Now that I look back on it, I definitely think that there was things that they could have improved on. They could have promoted it more. You know, they did stream all the matches. The IRT, the LPRT did, and it was also on USA Racquetball stream. If you ask LPRT and IRT, I think they're going to say there's always room for improvement with the video and the streaming and whatnot. But going back to USA Racquetball, yes, I definitely think they could be doing a little bit more for outdoor, especially this summer when outdoor is all we had. So, you know, hopefully they will think about that for the future.
Was there discussion about that, you know, during the summer months? Was there talk like, you know, I can understand how if it's something super new like that, even though outdoor has been around for quite a long time, but it's, you know, under the umbrella of USA Racquetball now, WAR, which WAR was built up during your run here at Echelon Racquetball as well, which we'll get into Echelon stories here in a little bit. But, you know, during that time, WAR became a significant name. It wasn't talked about much under the USA Racquetball. And was there discussions? I know you were on the board up until recently. I believe you're not on the board now, but you were on a board, one of the boards for USA Racquetball. So, you know, why was there talk about it? And if not, why not? You know, why not? Why wasn't there something getting grabbed onto there?
There was definitely talk about promoting WAR and outdoor racquetball more. I just think that there's so much to focus on. It's tough to focus on just one thing, and it's kind of like, well, we're going to focus on this or this, and you have to choose. And there's just not enough. Honestly, there's just not enough time in the day. And I'm not saying like we shouldn't be focused on WAR. I just think that there were other things that they needed to be focusing on. So
how's your budget there in terms of being able to work with the stories of racquetball that USA Racquetball could put out there to its membership, to its non-members, to anybody?
Budget?
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes I feel like there's things that could be talked about, but you know, and gone into a little detail about, but maybe it's not under control on your end. Maybe it's not under control in you know, I don't know who else that is involved in this part with you, but you know, so that's just something that comes to mind. There is, you know, is there budgetary limitations there or whatever?
I wouldn't know about any budgetary limitations. I'm just a contractor. I'm no longer a board member. It was a good try, John. Yeah, I would not know. Right?
So no, maybe the question is actually like, do you have complete autonomy with social media with USA Racquetball or no?
No.
Okay.
It's you know, Mike and Renee and I get on a call and we kind of discuss upcoming things that are happening and what we should be posting and whatnot. And Renee handles some aspects of it and I handle others. So I don't have, you know, full control, and it's kind of a teamwork.
How do you think it is? How would you grade it? A, B, C, D?
Goodness gracious. Do I have to answer this?
No, you don't have to answer.
Okay, I'll pass.
Okay. All right. So wait, before we go, Ellie, I just want to we're not going anywhere, but I want to get this out because I'm curious too. I see there's a question in the box, which is pretty cool. Aim, this is going to be easy for you now. Who's the toughest left side player in the female game, besides, of course, yourself, that you've ever played against?
Male and female, because you played a lot of good mixed doubles as well.
I've played against Kane, so, you know, he's right up there. Kane and Daniel for the men, I would say. I always have a hard time against Michelle De La Rosa. I have a lot of respect for her game as a doubles player. So she would be up right there with those.
Interesting. That's probably, yeah, that's an interesting one.
Michelle's
Factor-
tough. She's,
Oh, I know.
she's tough. So
What makes her such a great doubles player?
I think she's feisty on the court. She gets to a lot. She has she can mix in a little bit of her outdoor game on the indoor court. And yeah, she's just all around tough on that left side. So she has great serves. And
That's funny. Veronica says the same thing. She's like, no, she's better than, I guess what some titles lack.
then every year I have to play her at national doubles, and it's in Arizona, in her hometown, and everyone in Arizona is cheering for her. And then there's me from New Jersey, and there's like 2 of us from New Jersey. So yeah.
All right, now that we made that easy, Ellie's going to go back to another question about the social media.
Yeah, no, a little bit more USA Racquetball stuff.
Oh,
I guess people might be curious. Do you have any inside knowledge on national events for 2021? What some of the options are to get national doubles, national singles played at some point in the year? I know we all don't know. Maybe it's based on vaccines as well, but any insight in there that you could provide for us and your plans for 2021?
Yeah, I believe there is talk about having an event in May, June that could be a combined maybe type festival event with numerous, maybe a national singles and a national doubles combined. I don't have anything planned personally for myself. I'm supposed to go to Beach Bash in March to play some outdoor. We'll see if that happens. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So
what type of location could handle a dual national event like that, whether it's in May or June? Because I've also heard talk a little bit about junior nationals being included in that as well. If it was a June, a mid-June to late June event and 3 national events at one location, where in the hell is that going to happen?
it's a good question, John. I think obviously it can't be at a university right now because universities are not allowing outside events happening. So it could be a place in maybe Kansas City and maybe Missouri. I mean, I think the Veta Club has a lot of courts. I don't know what their COVID situation's like right now, but that could be a possibility. And even in Portland at Hanks Club in what's Hanks Club? You know what I'm talking about.
The MAC.
Yeah.
The Multnomah Athletic Club.
Okay. So that could be a possibility. I personally don't know. So sorry.
On a personal side, you've won 13 national championships. 12 are 12 are accredited, in one obvious situation here that happened, I think last in 2019 or 18 with Janelle. But
yes,
run down your partners that you've won with and just, your favorite or, something cool about each of them that really connects with you as a good partner.
So Laura Fenton was my first partner. We won 2 titles together. I greatly appreciate Laura because she sought me out and said I had a lot of potential. And so, she was my first one that I won a national doubles title with. Jackie Perizzo, we won 5 together. And, she has more national doubles titles than me. I mean, she has the record, which I'm trying to beat. So she better watch out. And then
how many does she have?
I have 12. I think she has 14, I think.
14 or 15. Those 2 numbers stand out for me as well.
Yeah, it's 14 or 15. So yeah. And then we have Janelle, who I won several titles with. And Janelle and I were really good friends out of Laura and Jackie, and we kind of bonded a lot and hung out a lot, not just as partners but as friends. And then Miss Erica, who's I'm old enough to be your mom. Mm-hmm. And she's feisty on the court. She loves boxing people out on that right side, which I love, and she doesn't take any crap from anyone. And I look forward to playing with her again. So
all right, check this out, Aimee. We have a special guest that we're going to bring in, but it's one of your partners that you just mentioned.
Okay.
Is going to come in. So we're going to give you one guess before we bring them in.
I will say Erica. That would be my guess.
And it is Scotty Mac. Looks like it is somebody. we don't we
Uh-oh.
don't we don't see them. Who do we got? Well, this is what happens when you go live. You know,
Come on, Scott.
You have issues. Scotty Mac, paging Scotty Mac.
Uh-oh.
So Aimee, it is Erica, if Erica ever gets in, you know, and we're going to talk a little bit about your most recent victory. She's there. She is. Is Scotty Mac? Looks like it.
Hi. Hi, partner.
Hi. Hey, Erica, welcome to Beyond the Court with us this evening. Can you lower? I think there's some feedback. I don't know if you got some issues.
It's in the background.
Scotty Mac. Okay. All right, we got that. So here's the 2020 National Doubles Champions right here, Erica Mania, Aimee Ruiz. So Erica, why didn't you go to Kansas City and play in that LPRT event? It looked like it was a kick-ass event. It was the most money we've ever seen, maybe ever, literally. Why weren't you there?
Because I'm traveling a lot right now, and I actually just came off of an injury for training for outdoor in Vegas. I partially tore my calf playing in Arizona, trying to. Hopefully, I was going to play with Rhonda. Her and I were going to go out and play that. But, you know, don't play racquetball for 3-4 months of quarantine, and you stay in shape. And I wasn't doing enough sprints, I guess. Took a wrong step, and that's what happened.
Did you feel the pop? Was it a nice pop, or did you just have the grab? Because I've had it happen a couple of times, and it's kind of scary right when it happens. And so was it the big one, the pop, or a grab?
It felt like the worst Charlie horse I've ever gotten in my life.
Yeah. Scary situation too. Well, that's a bummer because it would have been fun to see you play outdoor racquetball. I think your personality and your game style and your presence is meant for outdoor racquetball. And I know your brother's getting into it now as well. So talk a little bit about what it's been like to kind of partner up this first year with Aimee and win the national title with somebody that has already won 12 of them before the one that you won with her. You know, how much pressure did you feel as her partner, as Aimee Ruiz's right side?
I mean, it's so funny. The first time when we first were talking about it, I was like, wait, like partners with Aimee? No way. Like got super excited. She came out to Colorado. We started practicing, and I just remember like playing horrible. And I go outside, Jim Winterton's there, coach, and I'm like, Coach, what the heck's going on? He goes, you're nervous. You're playing with Aimee Ruiz.
Right.
And that was like the very first time we practiced together. And Amy's over there like, what? Excuse me, what?
Sounds like her exactly right there.
Oh, that was well done right there.
Yeah.
But then we just continued to practice. We both went out to California together to practice. And I mean, it's an honor to be able to play with her. It's fun to play with her. I just think we have the very similar intensity on the court together where you get there and we're there to do business. We're not there to mess around. She's had a lot of experience playing against everyone that we were playing against. So it was to the point of, hey, here's what we have to do. Here's what we're going to do. We were both watching videos of everyone to figure out weaknesses. And it's kind of just, you know exactly what you have to do when you get on that court. And we flow together really well.
Aimee, obviously this past year I played with somebody a little younger than me too. So what is it, when you have Erica over there on the right, and for me, I had Alex over there on the right, what do you feel how you help her? And then Erica, I want to know how she actually helps you after she answers. So, Aimee, like, what do you think you do for Erica on the court?
I definitely think I cover her very well in the back of the court. I typically play with someone who's more of a front court player. So she takes a lot in the front, the forehand, the backhand, and I'm kind of like the wingman, the wing woman in the back. Just, when she needs me, I'm there. I let her I let her play. I let her take her shots. And like one of my biggest things is I feel like we have to communicate. Whoever your doubles partner is, you have to communicate really well with them. And it's like, if you're not communicating, it's not going to jive. Like you have to, especially with a lefty and righty, when in the middle, it's the backhand. You have to know who's taking what. And we immediately, discussed, people are going to serve down the middle, who's taking it and things like that. So we kind of always had a plan in place. So.
Erica?
Aimee takes control 100%. You know
I do?
Oh, what? Have you rewatched our match? But it's, what shots are hers. If Amy's gonna shoot, she's gonna shoot and she's gonna put it down. So you better get out of the way and jump or do something because she's going for it. I think she has helped me like stay very focused on the court. She just keeps the intensity. The intensity is there from the moment we start our warm up all the way till the end until they say it's 15 and game's over. Doesn't matter if you're up 14-0, for example, it does not matter. Our intensity is there because we're there for a reason. And so.
Erica, a little bit about you. You mentioned earlier that you travel a lot right now. So, what are you doing outside of racquetball that has you traveling so much? And how much, assuming we get over COVID here and we get back to having a tour, having international events, how much racquetball is in your, future in the next 5 years, let's say?
So right now I've been getting my master's online for business and administration through DeVry University, which Aimee also went through. Which is awesome. And so with kind of COVID happening, there wasn't many internships. So now I've decided to do seasonal jobs for a little bit and to keep training. So I've lived at the Grand Canyon now. I've lived at Zion National Park, and now I'm in Breckenridge, Colorado. So I've been traveling a ton, and I have, for racquetball wise, if you can stay, in my opinion, 100% the most fit person that you're going to be playing against. We've been playing racquetball our whole life. I've been playing racquetball my whole life. I'm still young. I still have ton to learn, still have a ton to fine tune in my game. But if my conditioning is there and my strength's there, the racquetball is going to come once the court's open and I can actually train and be able to fine tune it. So that's kind of where my emphasis has been. I have a lot of weak points because I have gotten injured the last couple of years. So making sure that I'm completely focusing on my body and focusing on everything that I need to be able to get ready to get back on the court.
You're also focusing on a lot of other players' games right now. I mean, we're all getting the emails. It feels like it's a national email chain that goes out about Mania Athletics. You and your brother, Adam, who's one of my favorites. You guys have been doing some online instruction. So talk a little bit about that. This is an opportunity to tell our listeners what you guys got going on.
Yeah, so my brother and I have made our company called Mania Athletics. And Adam and I have been through a lot, as all of you guys have on this call. We're going through Junior USA. We've trying to get onto Adult Team USA, as I currently am with Aimee, which is awesome. And so we just want to keep expanding racquetball, and we want to share our knowledge. We want to be able to help anyone and everyone that wants to learn. And so we have knowledge, we feel like we've had experience, and what better than a brother-sister combo, because him and I coach very differently. And so it's really cool to be able to have one athlete have a Zoom call with both of us analyzing a game and getting two totally different viewpoints on the game. And the difference between a guy and a girl as well, that's really cool to see as well. And so my brother and I just work really well together, and we're always brainstorming. Adam's always on the back, he's making the website, he's doing the media blasts, and he's truly put everything he has into this. And what a cooler role model than the role model I've had my whole life. So it's really cool to be able to work now with my idol. So
yeah, that's good. You guys have had a great relationship since you were young juniors. I got to meet you when I think you were only about 8 or 9 years old. Knowing you now and seeing you as an adult, as in your 20s, it's a trip when you think back to the little girl you were before. And someone like my daughter, who's 12 years old, enjoys seeing you in person over the years and looks up to you as well, and has gotten to know Aimee a little bit because of her travels here into Stockton. But, for you guys as a team, you watch who's the team that just won in Kansas City again? I know Centeus and
Natalia.
Natalia. Yeah. You see them win a pro stop like that, new team like that. How hungry does that make you as a team to want to get back out there? And, who are some of the teams that you want a piece of?
Oh, we want a piece of all of them, right, Erica?
Bring it.
Yeah, but break it down a little more. Like who do you really want a piece of? I mean, you played Aimee, you've played Samantha and Paola several times with different partners, I'm assuming, but there's new players, there's young players coming from Bolivia, from Mexico, obviously, from Costa Rica, other countries. And so you got to be hungry to kind of get it on with some of those in particular.
I'd love to play Alexandra and Monte because I played Alexandra years ago, but I've never played her partner. And I think she's a phenomenal right side player. She kind of has like a little swagger, a little attitude to her.
Monty.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She walks with some swagger, and
she's confident.
Yes. And I'd love to get on court with them. So
Herrera's a lefty too, so she's kind of come on as a doubles, even though she's ranked pretty high on the tour now, I think 3 or 4, something like that. But she's kind of known as a doubles player right at first. So does that get under your skin a little bit, or does that excite you about?
I mean, she kills balls. Lefty? I mean, that's good. It's nice. Here we go.
Amy's not impressed. She's
that's kind of what I was asking.
Amy's just not, and she wants a piece of Monty. I love that. That'd be a good one. That'd be a fun one to watch for sure.
Erica, what about you? A team out there that kind of makes you want to, you know how it is. You kind of get a little hungry inside, makes you a little pissed off for a second. Like, I want to play them really bad as soon as possible. Any teams out there for you like that?
I think I have the best left side partner in the world. And I think that we're working and we're going to work whenever tournament we go to. So I want them all. I want Aimee by my side, and I want them to bring it.
She's not answering the question, Ellie.
No, that's fine.
This is called Beyond the Court. You can ask. You can say who you would like to be on the court with Aimee.
Gosh, I think anyone that's won the big tournaments. Alexandra and Monse. I want to play them. I want to play Paola and Samantha. I want to play oh my gosh, I want to play so many because I just haven't been able to get to tournaments yet. I haven't been able to be in an adult USA world team. I haven't been able to wear USA, knowing that when we go, we have a target on our back. It gets me so excited. I want the adrenaline rush, I want the intensity of the court because it's a pleasure. It's like an honor to have that. And so I don't know, it just gets me excited.
So it's crazy because Sudsy, you can attest to this. Like years ago, USA never lost an international competition. And now we have a target on our back. Like, Bolivia and Argentina and all those other teams are on the podium.
Mexico.
And Mexico, them too. And, so we're chasing them instead of them chasing us.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, Ellie, you guys see that medal hanging over Ellie's right shoulder there. That's the Pan American Games gold medal. And we swept that. We won gold, silver, bronze on both men's and women's. And we won the team gold, obviously, in both. And it's just not like that. But Ellie and I and Aimee, I know you too, Erica, you're probably a little too young. When we saw these countries starting to come, those were our exact words. We were like, they're coming, and they're coming fast. And unfortunately, we at USA Racquetball just didn't do enough or didn't do what we needed to maintain that level that we had. And quite frankly, and I get the vibe too, because, I'm traveling or coaching or playing for Team USA, that same respect isn't there. It's more like, oh, wow, you guys got on the podium? It's, and that it's true. And that's got to change. It sucks, but it's got to change. It has to change. And if it doesn't, because they're just going to keep getting confidence and then they're going to kick our ass. And then, so we have to look in the mirror, and I don't mean us 3 or 4. I mean, USA Racquetball, and what do we need to do to not let this happen or continue to happen?
Yeah, that's, and that's, it was 25 years ago that swept happened, and it seems so far away in terms of, USA being that dominant like that moment. But that's reality, and it's exciting from somebody who's not involved in the national team like you guys, and just kind of watching now from afar. I gotta admit, it's a little bit exciting to see the other countries in there, but deep down, then I'm saying, okay, now it's time for that next revolution of United States players to come in and reclaim what was originally theirs, along with Canada being involved in the 80s and 90s, with international racquetball. But moving along for a second to, Aimee mentioned going to the One Wall in Florida, coming up, I believe, in March. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so, Erica, One Wall, I know you got injured playing a little outdoor, but are you going to try to make that appearance there at the One Wall event? And for both of you, talk a little bit about One Wall racquetball in general. I mean, for me, it's like, Freddie's, I'm friends with Freddie, and, I really respect Robert Sostre, the Iceman, and all that, but I'm pretty bored watching One Wall, although I think it's racquetball, and I respect it and hope it just thrives and all that, but doesn't really float my boat. What about you two?
Yeah, so I'll chime in. I mean, I've been playing One Wall all summer, so I'm very partial to it. I have a lot of fun, and in where I play, they play New York One Wall rules, where you kind of have to like stand
Don't
your
get out of the
ground,
way.
and your position, and
Get
it
punched in the
takes some
face if you open your
adjusting.
mouth. Yeah, it's New York
Yeah.
rules. Sounds about right.
Takes some adjusting, but it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it, and we have a good group of players where I play, and I went to Zariga over the weekend, played a little indoor One Wall, and I love it. It's fun, and yeah.
Are you the best female out there now since you're there?
Am I? I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to be modest. Do you think you're the best female playing One Wall racquetball in New York at that? And that's a legendary place, Zariga, or however you say it. I know that's a legendary place. I know
I
the
don't know if
the
I am. I
lady
don't
plays
know.
there that has the name. She still plays there, I believe, right?
Who's that?
Kathy.
One of the
Kathy?
daughters, Kathy, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, Kathy. Yeah.
And
I mean, I know my game has improved this past year in One Wall, so I'm confident that I can hang with any of the ladies. I don't know what they think. I mean, I
Singles or
know that they thought,
singles
oh,
or
she's
doubles,
just
Aimee?
an indoor player.
We all
and
know.
can't
We
play.
all know.
What?
Oh, Amy's the best out there.
I don't know.
So, Erica, are you planning on attending that event? Any insight there?
I have a partner already.
Truthfully,
Jesus.
no, I'm fine with. I'm not a big outdoor player. I was playing, and I mean, I tried in Arizona. It's fun. It's a blast. I like indoor. I'm an indoor player, and so I don't want to go to a tournament and not be prepared or not know that. When I go to an indoor tournament, I mean, your shoulders are back, your chin's high, your chest is out. Like, you're there to do business, and outdoor, I just don't have that same passion. And so if I'm going to be going to Florida, I'll be going for an LPRT stop.
Well, that's a bummer
Awesome.
from my end. That's a bummer. I hope you maybe reconsider, so that, for me, I think part of the excitement is, and I think that the One Wallers would agree, that is having some of the indoor players come in and take part in outdoor racquetball, whether it's 3-wall, long wall, or One Wall in this situation. And it really bridges that gap from indoor players watching outdoor One Wall or not watching, when you have some faces that you really recognize and you really want to follow, like you two. It becomes a little more intriguing for us indoor players, primarily indoor players. So, speaking for racquetball, and I hope you reconsider. And, if you guys end up playing each other, so be it. That's competition. And, yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing that too. That'd be fun.
All right, question for you two. So obviously you're on the U.S. national team right now, and I guess Aimee said that national doubles will be when? Summertime around? Is that right?
I think so. In June, maybe, with combined with national singles, possibly.
Are you planning on playing together? And are you planning on playing?
100% yes. We'll be playing
Oh.
together.
To both.
What?
You're
Both?
planning on playing, and you're planning on playing together.
Yes. Absolutely.
Cool.
And we know Erica's going to be playing singles, and one of the threats to win the whole thing. What about yourself, Aimee? You gonna dice it up in some singles too, as well?
We'll see. We'll see how much. We'll see how I'm playing, if I'm healthy. One of the things is, like, Erica's a lot younger than me, and I'm 45, and I have to She is. She could be our child. Like, she's young.
How old are you, Erica? How old are you?
22.
Yeah.
She wasn't.
You guys.
She wasn't alive for our '95 sweep, Suds. She wasn't even a thought yet at that point.
She wasn't even thinking about racquetball.
No.
Yeah. Well, anyway. All right. Well, listen. All right. Before Beyond the Court takes the turn it's not supposed to, we are going to let you two ladies go. We always appreciate it. Aimee, is there anything, Erica, we know we have maniaathletics.com, correct? All right. So for some awesome coaching with Erica and Adam, do you want to add anything to that, Erica?
I just think keep supporting racquetball. All of us here, everyone's always growing racquetball. And so I think no matter where you go, just keep growing the sport. And it's awesome. And give us a check, give us a look, give us a click.
Any upcoming virtual tournaments happening on your end like you did? I heard some players that were involved, thought it was really cool.
Upcoming ones, we're doing little camps now, little clinics, Zoom calls. So we just did our first forehand one, which was really cool. Was super successful. People could come with questions and we just go over forehand and in all aspects of the game. We'll do backhand, we'll do serves, we'll do serve return, we'll break down the game to every spot that there is. So
Very
Very cool. Definitely cool. Aim, what about your social media business? Do you want to promote that right now? Go for it.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I have a social media business. I manage social media pages for various clients. You know, some are in racquetball, some aren't. I also do email marketing. So if you have a business and are interested, feel free to contact me.
What is that website? Scotty will put it into the chat. What's your website?
It's abrcom.com.
ABR.
abrcomm.com. So,
All right, awesome. So
or you can just send
listen,
me a DM.
racquetball world, get a hold of these ladies, go to Mania Athletics, go to abrcom.com, work with Aimee. Any questions about racquetball, anything at all? Aimee, Erica, thank you so much for being here tonight.
thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We will hopefully see you soon, and hopefully one day we can compete together on the national
I
team.
know.
We'll see what happens. So we'll see you later, but thank you.
All right,
Thanks, ladies.
guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Ellie.
Suds.
Well, there you have it. That was Aimee, and Aimee's still with us.
Yeah.
And
There she
Erica,
goes.
well, there she goes. That was Aimee and Erica, the national champs. Interesting to hear them speak, and something I loved hearing Erica say, which I think a lot of young players don't pay enough attention to. You don't hear young players say this. She's like, I don't have to be on the court. We talk about that all the time. She's like, as long as I'm fit and in good shape, the racquetball will come quick. I agree with that. I mean, at 22, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think there's some fine tuning that you probably need to do a couple weeks into a major event, a big event, any event really, to make sure that you're hitting shots well. A little bit of play as well to make sure your shot selection process is pretty good. Having said that, I know you visualized a lot more than playing in the heart of your pro career. I spent a lot of time in New York and was like, can we go practice ever? And you were busy getting yelled at or doing something. Someone was telling you go get some bagels or something. And so, that didn't always happen. And I'd sometimes call Rubes, like, come pick me up, I guess, Rubes, because this dude don't practice. I don't even know how he's number 1 or 2 in the world. He don't practice. So, it's unique, different people are going to have different ways to go about that. But I do agree with her. If you stay fit, your mind stays really confident because you have that ability to say, I can go a long time out here on the court without succumbing to my fatigue. You can get fatigued real quick and then overcome that real quick as well if you're in good shape, especially good interval style shape. Just like racquetball, rallies are short, they're quick, they're powerful, they take a lot out of you, and you get 10 seconds to recover, even a little longer if you're good at kind of getting an extra second or two if you really need it.
We can get a good minute if need be.
Well, the floor is always wet. I got to pick up the floor. Shit. So, so that was a smart comment. And I think she's kind of always had that, and she's feisty. I didn't realize how talkative she was until all of a sudden she's like 16, 17, and I'm around her like she's a motor mouth. I'm like, geez, you're so opposite from Adam. And, Adam's kind of a tranquil, quiet guy, but he's very, very competitive on the court, her brother, Adam. And so is she. And that comes from a great family background. The Mania family is an awesome family. So, she's got what it takes to be around for quite a while. We'll see if life gets in the way or not, you know, and I hope at the very least she's performing on the national level in terms of national events, trying to qualify for the national team and playing international racquetball for USA Racquetball, and going forward from there, whether she can get on the tour full time and become a major player in that aspect, we will see. You know, we'll see what her life provides for her on that.
Yeah, Erica certainly, could be a force on tour. She's got the weapon, she's got the tools. She reminds me of a Michelle Gould, but a little more athletic, probably. Just little better movement.
Kind of a big comment right there.
Well, I mean, the games, I don't mean, she obviously isn't at that level. Michelle's one of the best players of all time, arguably in my world, probably the second best player of all time. But, similar type game style. And it would be nice to see her be able to focus, on tour and see how good she really could be. But like you said, she's kind of moving along. And these are some of the issues that we as a sport need to look at and listen to. When a woman and a girl like Erica Mania says, well, I'm studying for my master's and I'm doing this. Like, that's where we got to be accountable and responsible and say, what are we doing to help not lose these players? And like you said, that might be, a show for another time, because I could get pretty heated and passionate about that right now.
Yeah.
What about Aimee's? I felt she didn't really answer the social media question. She kind of like did one of those.
You know, and I wasn't sure how to produce that question. You know, it's kind of a difficult question. Like, hey, what the hell's going on over there? Can we get a little bit more out of the online side of it, or the information side of it, the presence online, the media presence from there. But it's it's a tough question to ask, and I'm not sure how to ask it. And I'll be honest, I don't always follow it 100%. Sometimes I see the emails and scan it for about 2 seconds and then toss it. But it's there's not been a lot going on during this COVID time, so it's difficult to come up with stuff. But that's also another area where you got to get creative. You got to be able to find things that really engage your membership, your players that aren't members but might become members in the future, or engage them and based on trying to get them to support USA Racquetball and racquetball as a whole in the United States. So it's tough. Yeah, she kind of went around that question a little bit, but I don't know. Your thoughts?
Yes. No, well, Scotty Mack, I mean, he communicated to us. He said, ask her who the mastermind is, right? Like, that would have been a good question. We didn't get that. Like, that's part of it, right? Like, who's in charge? Who's the person that steps up and goes, that's my responsibility, right? It's like playing a match. Hey, I sucked. You beat me. I look in the mirror and go, I have to go get better. That's what we need more of. And that's what we have to have. And that's what the sport needs overall, and really look around and say, who's here for those and for that, right, for the right reasons. And, that's where the change is going to come. But, Ellie, that was a fun show. It was a good one. Kansas City was a good event. The next pro event is going to be in Atlanta, the IRT event. And it's no news, but I'll be playing with Alex Landa there. So, hopefully we'll be talking about winning that tournament on a Sunday night. But
how about your singles? You're going to plan on winning the singles event as well?
I have no desire. I would have to be financially compensated where it wouldn't be worth whoever's financially compensating me's time, because I don't want to do it for that. I want to do it because I want to do it. Just like any tournaments I've been playing, as you know of lately, it's not for titles and medals and accolades. It's different types of motivation and inspiration. And it's not money, because I'm sure that's what, I didn't get paid to go play with Alex in national doubles or, Rocky. It was, I wanted to go help Alex. And I find myself in singles, and you're always on me about it too, but I have no desire right now to go do it again.
So, the problem I have with that, Suds, is when you send me videos of you crack acing about 8 in a row on a drive serve at about Mach 9 at 46 years old, then I start to go, well, shit. If you have that control ability and you can mock serves coming from somebody who's got no shoulder and hits underhand forehands right now, it does drive me a little crazy on with you. But I understand, again, it gets into that, people make their decisions based on what they're feeling inside, and you got to live with that and support your friends in that way. And I'm supportive of that. I just, speaking from somebody who loves watching good racquetball and having played against you so many times, it's really a dynamic game that you bring to the court. And, I think there's a lot of players that would struggle with it like they did at the Open 3 or 4 years ago, whenever you made your run to the quarters. And And so, on that note, that's kind of where I'm coming from on that. When you can do stuff like that, shit, man, I want to see it. I want to see it
Well,
against players.
I appreciate it, buddy, but you're a good friend. It's a lot different doing it out there alone training than it is, with
Yeah, that's
being
true
in the
too,
back.
right?
You say,
I mean,
yeah,
that
for
is
sure.
true.
But even in the practice, I'm focusing and visualizing doing that. But right now, I'm just not going to do it. And you know me as well as anybody. If I'm not locked in and want to do it, you're not going to get the best out of it. So right now, I'm locked into the next Beyond the Court, which will be next Sunday night. And once again, I'll be coming at you from a different city in the United States. It won't be here in South Florida. So you'll have to wait for that. And you'll also have to wait for the guest. But I can tell you
Yeah,
this.
we know.
The guest we're going to have is Ellie, would you say has been pretty controversial lately? How would you describe the guest without saying who the guest is?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if controversial is the right word. He's real about it. He comes with a different perspective. He comes from an outside perspective in terms of indoor racquetball. He comes from a different perspective on that, but he's learned a lot over the last 10 years about the sport, and he's willing to talk about it. He's willing to put it down on print. He's willing to say some things that others probably wouldn't be willing to say. We're willing to have him on the show to talk about that type of stuff for sure. I certainly don't have anything to hold back on this kind of stuff. So I'm excited about our guest next week. He's a great player in his own way, in his own right. He really is a great player in the game that he brings, in the style that he plays, in the game of racquetball that is his favorite over the years. So there's all kinds of clues in that right there, huh?
I
But
mean,
like I said,
it is Beyond the Court, Ellie. We could break tradition. Next week is MJ's number show 23. If you want, you can tell everybody who's going to be on the show next week. And
I think maybe we'll just release it a little earlier this week if possible, and just kind of build towards that show, because I think it is going to be a really popular show when it's all said and done. I think the Todd Boss show really shocked people a couple weeks ago, how much information that Todd had on the sport, and sent a lot of people who haven't been to his website to see exactly the amount of work he's put in. And this gentleman kind of falls in that regards as well, in that line as well. So, let's release it a couple days earlier than our normal Friday or Saturday. And it'll be a lot of fun building towards that Sunday show. And it will be interesting, because there'll be some things that we didn't talk about tonight that we'll probably talk about, and some other things. And I'm going to do some reading this week. Another clue. I'm going to do a little bit more reading so I can get some serious background on his on what he's put out there, what he's written.
It's great. It's great stuff. It's knowledgeable. It has good perspective. I enjoy reading it. We speak often. Last clue for you is he doesn't use a glove. So with that, hey everybody, if you haven't downloaded the app yet, go to Google Play, the Android, go to Apple, download the Sudsy app. It's Sudsy M on Apple. It's Sudsy on Google, Android. There's a lot of fun stuff, a lot of different things, a lot of different content that you'll enjoy. If you like the show, I have some side interviews. Ellie's interviewed. It's good. We're reaching it out. We're putting racquetball into your hands, into the palm of your hands, and we'd appreciate it. Download it, tell your friends, enjoy it. There's all different things, and with that, we'll see you next week, the 13th of December, with show number 23. We're going to be closing out the year here soon. And LEI and Scotty Mack are always appreciative that you join us on Sunday nights. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, Ellie. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too, buddy.